Welcome back. Welcome back. We are here. It is officially the NBA offseason. We have the draft coming up in just a couple days. We will be getting a mock draft out Thursday morning, so stay tuned for that. And we're going through every single team, what we think they should do, what moves they should make, all that kind of stuff, and what our expectations are for them as of right now, and then how they would be after all the moves that we think they should make. And some might not be the best moves in the world, but I think they're solid moves to build toward the future. Today, we're going to be doing the Suns. So let's get right into it. Just made a huge trade for Bradley Beal. And the trade itself, they didn't trade much away. I mean, they got rid of Chris Paul, yes, but he's older and he's not looked like himself in every playoffs. He seems to be getting hurt. So you can't really have a guy on your roster that does that. And you upgraded. You upgraded for sure. But the only issue with that is you have 4 players on your team with being paid over $30 million, 2 of them over 45. So how do you fit all this under the new cap with the second apron, all that kind of stuff? That's a question what we're going to answer today. But first, what are your thoughts on the trade? Because I know you do follow the Suns pretty heavily.
100%. And I spoke a little bit about this, but I think that Devin Booker, CP3, going back to Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, Cam Payne, they had a structure that was very simple when it came down to facilitation and execution, just because Devin Booker is such a great scorer. And then when you get KD partnered up with Devin Booker, it's kind of a question mark how the same way people view Luka and Kyrie. How can you have two, dominant scorers, on the same team be able to mesh together? But KD and Devin Booker just so happened to really make that, pop and make it work for their offense, and had a nice game-winning streak until KD got hurt. And I think that they were yet to find their flow. And I think that it's safe to say that a lot of people would, look at Bradley Beal being traded to Phoenix in a similar type of way, a same type of dominant scorer for his previous team. And then now joining 2 elite scorers, also being, I would say Bradley a little bit under this, because Washington isn't that big of a market and that much talked about in the league, because they haven't really done anything in these seasons. So I think Bradley Beal is a phenomenal scorer and could be talked about as much as a Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, and eventually will be, if he is able to, instead of, bring back an imbalance, and kind of mess up the flow just because you have 3 dominant scorers. I think that maybe they find a way to make it shake. Bradley Beal is a taller, stronger guy, so maybe you throw Torrey Craig out of the starting lineup, kind of run small with Devin Booker, Bradley Beal. You could let them run kind of like a.
They'd be big for the guard position, though. Like, if you're just going guard to guard, they'd be big.
Yeah,
it's not like Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah. I guess D-Book could bring the ball up, and then you could just have a squad full of scorers,
Well, I think because in the playoffs, we saw D-Book really be that point guard because CP3 was out, and he was averaging like 7 assists, 8 assists in that series versus the Nuggets. And I think you saw stuff there. I think that's going to really, especially in a lot of people's minds that might not be super high on Booker or something like that. I think that's
100%.
something that moves the needle for them and puts him into the say that maybe that top 10 that he's kind of on the fringe on. I don't know if I'm ready to put him there yet, but I think he's on the fringe of it. And I think he definitely throughout this playoff run leveled himself up against a lot of the other guards in the competition, like in his race, like Shea or Donovan Mitchell or even Bradley Beal, you could argue.
If he didn't hurt, he would be first. He wasn't first team, was he?
No, I don't think he. I don't know if he made anything because of the injuries. But Shea made first team. Donovan made second team. I know that for a fact. But yeah, I'm looking at the roster right now. The guys that are on the roster right now are Bradley Beal, who's being paid $47 million, KD 48, Devin Booker 36, 8 and 32, Cam Payne 6, and then Isaiah Wainwright has a team option for $2 million. So the team salary is 171 million. The initial salary cap is 141 or 140. So after you pass that, you have to pay $1.50 for everything that you pay $1 for. Then there's a second apron that's at 179 and a half, which they're 8 million behind. And then after that, you have to pay 175 per dollar. So you're basically doubling everyone's salary as the owner. So it's forcing people to not really have two guys that are making 50 million. And now you guys have four that are making over 30 and two of them almost 50. It's definitely a tough thing to do. I don't know how they're really going to fill out this roster, but if we've realized anything from Matt Ishbia, right? That's the name of the owner. He's going to be aggressive and he doesn't really care. He just wants to win. So I don't think he has a problem going over this cap or something like that. And in order to do that, he's going to have to pay extra money, which is, I don't think is a bad thing. But I think for me, if we want to get into trades or acquisitions they should possibly make, I think that they kind of have to shop DeAndre Ayton. I know you've been very vocal on your talk about him not playing well and how he's just needs to be traded, that kind of stuff. I think you have to trade him. I don't know what you can get for him. I was thinking probably like a solid player and a first round pick, I would say, from like a Pistons or a team that's on the lesser end but wants to have a high upside guy that you've seen flashes in. And I think that's something that a lot of like the younger teams, like maybe Hornets or something like that, they want to make a move and they trade like PJ Washington in the first for DeAndre Ayton. Something like that was where my head went. Something like that.
I like that talk.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Suns definitely have avenues they can attack, but I think it's going to be hard because everyone's going to know they're trying to shop Ayton now because you can't really fill out a roster of guys with good role players because role players make 50 million a year now, like solid ones. Like, I'm just curious, like when Bruce Brown gets his extension from the Nuggets, I'm curious to what that's going to be. It has to be at least 50. People are talking about Austin Reeves making 80 mil over 4 years. The role players don't come cheap anymore, especially the good ones. And the only way you get that is through the draft. And
100%.
the Suns traded away a lot of picks. So I don't know. What do you want? What move specifically do you want them to make? Because I think they need to fill out the roster more. They can't run it back with having such a bad bench and just three really good players.
100%. I think you get Ayton out of there, bro. I think you get Ayton out of there, and I think that, Jock Landale. I was saying I'd take anybody for DeAndre Ayton. I just want him out of here.
Is there like is there a specific group you want to target? Like what position, or like do you want to get a bigger power forward so that like KD doesn't have to play the 4 and you want him at the 3?
Yeah, like I think Precious Achua would be nice. I think that would be a good fit if they wanted to make a move to Toronto. I could see DeAndre Ayton in Toronto, in order to get a big 4 or a big 5, But like I said, I'd take anybody because I want him out of here.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of Suns fans aren't really happy with Ayton, understandably so. I'm not saying that he was good or anything along those lines, especially in the playoffs, and he hasn't really been. And I think it all kind of started in 2021 when they played the Bucks in the finals, and they just insisted on having Monty Williams insisted on having him guard Giannis one-on-one. I think that was kind of a shot in the face and kind of just like ruined the relationship between DeAndre Ayton and Monty Williams. But I think for him, you can't get a lot now. At the time when he was drafted, you could have gotten a lot, but now it's just progressively gotten worse and worse. And I mean, he did go up against Jokic, so I can't really hold that against him, and he had some solid moments. But there was just a lack of effort, and I think that was attributed to even what we heard in the beginning of the year or even at the end of last year. He was criticizing Monty Williams openly and all that stuff. So maybe you will get a new fire under him. But I think for the Suns, I don't disagree that trading him. I think trading him gives them, an opportunity to still build for the future, even after everything, because you'll get a pick back. And if you wanted to, you could flip that pick for, say, 2 late first round picks or something like that. And I think The key for the Suns is really, if you want to trade Ayton, that's the one trade you can make. You can't trade any of the other guys. Maybe you throw campaign in there, but no one's like, that's just like a money kind of thing. So I think if you're going to do something, it has to be with free agent signings and trading DeAndre Ayton. And I think what free agents do you like stick out to you right now? My thoughts went to what's his name? You go. I have to let it come to me.
You got a list? I need a list.
I don't have a
I feel
list. We should pull up a list of free agents for the future videos. But there was one big that I was standing out to me. I think Andre Drummond wouldn't be bad.
JaVale
I think
McGee.
that I don't know. That wasn't my guy, but Andre Drummond wasn't either. But I was just thinking off the top of my head. Andre Drummond wouldn't be bad. I don't think he's under contract. I can't imagine he is. But I think he's just like a center that you can go and plug and play off the bench. He's at that point where you don't expect him to start and give you 20-20 like he was in Detroit. You expect him to give you a good 15 to 18 minutes where he's getting 10 rebounds in those short amount of time, getting some put back layups, lobs, and setting hard screens. I think that's what you really are looking for. And that's what they lacked. And I think he would be a good person to go up against Jokic because that's who you're going to have to play. The Nuggets are the world champs. They're going to be there. But I think they got to target center more because I think obviously guards are fine. KD is enough for a forward, and you just need a solid role player forward, which is hard to come by. But that's just my thoughts. Do you have any other moves you think they should make besides trading Ayton?
Get him out of here. That's it.
I'm just scrolling through every team's free agents right now. I think like a Seth Curry is a free agent. I think he's going to command a lot of money. But if you could get him on a cheap-ish deal and you can have him come off the bench, I think that would be something that would give you a little extra boost. I think you really just want to fill it out with defenders, though. I think you want a lot of maybe like – I'm trying to think of players. Like the first like 3-and-D guy that keeps coming to my head is DeAndre Hunter. But you're going to have to trade for him. So like Kelly Oubre, like those kind of players. I think you need a couple of those and then you need a backup and then you need one backup guard who can handle the ball and distribute. I think obviously those don't come at a premium, but you could find one for sure. And there'll be older veteran guys that want to play for the Suns because they're going to be pretty good.
If Cam isn't in the starting lineup, I think you should keep Cam Payne. I think he's a good investment in the long run.
Yeah. Cam Payne's on the team. Duh. Yeah. Keep Cam. I don't like Cam, but you should keep him.
I love Cam. But
not my guy.
He just gets the crowd hype. He's just like, like in Phoenix loves him. But
yeah. He'd be the guy I'd like if he was on my team. He's just a pain in the ass.
That's all I got to say, though, for real.
Yeah, I think the Suns – I don't dislike the trade personally. I think the trade gives them – it clearly shows that they're in win-now mode. I think they have 3 players highly capable of scoring. And I think we've seen flashes of all 3 of them being a more dominant ball handler. And I think D-Book is really going to take that throne this year. And I think his assist numbers are definitely going to go up. His points might come down, but – I think the assist numbers go up. I think KD is going to like full year, not just like halfway playing like 10 games. I think that's going to be a big factor. I don't know if I'm ready to put them in the top tier of NBA like contenders. I don't know if I'm ready to put them in that top 3 yet, which is I think is valid. I haven't seen the rest of their roster. They have 5 guys under contract. So I can't say that. I didn't love the trade for KD at that moment when everyone's like, oh my God, bet the Suns to win the championship, all this stuff. I didn't think that was going to be a good season for them. I said on here that next year is really the year you got to take notes and watch and see what happens because they can actually sign free agents and guys that are going to be on vet mins and stuff like that. So I think that's really what the Suns have to do is try and take advantage of the veteran minimums and get those guys that most people aren't really thinking of getting that you can plug and play for a couple minutes and make a difference. I think that's what the Suns really need to fill out this roster.
100.
But if they don't get that, I don't know where they really go because they only scoring that many points can only get you so far. We saw it with a couple other teams. But Phoenix Suns, I hope you have a good season. And that's a wrap. See you guys next time. Peace.